Hello, good morning. Hi, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to my quilting life. It's breakfast time. And for breakfast, I have binding. I'm having a binding breakfast. All right, let's see who is all here real quick. Karen, Becky, Lois, Sherry, Gloria, Cherie, Tony, Susan, Cindy, Farouk, Aldia, Rebel, and Amy, and there's more, but you guys have been talking in the chat for a while, it seems. Anyway, so today I'm having binding for breakfast. I can't start something new right now because I have 2 quilts here, which I've showed on my Sew Sunday, and then I made on Sew Sunday a table runner.
Yeah, let's show them these.
That's really, really long, but I quilted it. I don't know why, but I always quilt the small projects before I do any big projects. It's just one of those things. I'm like, oh, I got to take it to the long arm. So I quilted the table runner from Sunday, and then I put together the wall hanging that was hanging on the wall and quilted it. And yes, I did fancy cool quilting, which I'll show you more later. And then with the little scraps that were left over, because no scrap goes to waste, I made a littler wall hanging. This one's super puffy because I put super puffy batting in it. And then obviously there are 2. So I have 5 total projects here that need some binding before I do anything else in this sewing room or my fabric room or in any room in the house. I need to get these bound because I don't like having a bunch of projects that need binding, you know? I like to just get it all done and be done with it. So I'm going to start with these with my yellow because I put yellow thread in. First thing I'm going to do is, one of these quilts is going in a quilt show, so I actually have to write on the tag. I'm just using my homemade little tags, but I need to put the names of the quilts on my, oh, I don't want to use these markers, on my tags. So I'm going to find me a fabric marker, and I need like an orange color. I'm going to write on the back of this. Actually, I should stitch them first, then write on them. I started, instead of pre-stitching all the way around the edge of my tags, I actually stopped doing that. And now whatever color thread that I'm using for binding, I actually stitch around the tags with that. So that's what I'm going to do from now on. That way it looks cool. And I have a video showing how we make tags, in case you're curious. All right, so this one is called Salsa, which is the one that's going to go on a show. So I'm literally writing Salsa, and then I finished it June. Technically, I finished it June, so I'm going to put June of 26. It's really hard to write with fabric marker when there's like embroidery on the front side. Why did I say 26? I meant 25.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I just realized I said 26 and not 25. Well, I'm a year ahead of myself already. And then I'm going to put, what else has to go on a show quilt tag? Oh, Lake Havasu City. I'm just putting LHC because that's how we abbreviate here. What did you say you wanted the name of the other one to be?
Fiesta.
Fiesta. Okay.
Salsa and Fiesta. You can go with your name.
He wants me to name it Fiesta. The
What
other
were you
one.
going to call it?
I was going to call it Broken because it looks like it's broken.
Yeah, but it doesn't say anything about it.
It is highly important. Here's one of my tips for you guys. To put tags, labels, whatever on your quilts. You know why? Because in the future, long time from now, somebody's going to want to know who made that quilt. So, and they find out that the fabric is, say, 100 years old from, you know what I mean? And it's still somewhat good. And it hasn't completely fallen apart. Someone's going to want to know who made that and that style of pattern or whatever at that point in time. So it's nice to have labels. Also, if it ends up in a Goodwill, at least the person that buys it at Goodwill is going to find out who made it. So it's highly important to label our quilts, people. Yes, yes, yes. All right, we're going to call it, how do you spell Fiesta? F-I-E-F-E-I-S-T-A.
Yes.
F-I-E-S-T-A.
F-I-E-S-T-A. Why don't you ask the fans what they like best? Fiesta or
I'm doing Fiesta. F-I-E. What did you just say?
F-I-E-S-T-A.
Yep.
Yes. Typed it in Google.
It's morning time. I can't spell or anything. I can barely write. All right.
Well, the quilt's very party, yes,
Mm-hmm.
festive, party thinking. So Fiesta fits it. The colors and everything.
This one I'm just putting the name and June of 25 on it. I name most of the big quilts. I don't with the little guys. The little quilts, I don't name them. I do put tags on them. All right. I am done with the orange marker. Let's just throw that over there for now. Trim these little puppies down just a little bit. I always make my tags a little bit oversized so that I can trim them down and they land just perfectly in the binding. Oh, it didn't catch the end. All right. This one is salsa. We're going to find the bottom center for me. I'm going to put it in the bottom center. Close that blade before it flips with me messing around here.
Where'd you get your fabric markers?
My fabric markers, I think we got them at Hobby Lobby. I'm not 100% sure on that. It might be something that someone sent to me. But again, I'm not 100% sure on that.
Maybe we did get them at
I think I bought them at Hobby Lobby, though. These are the ones that somebody sent me.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So the brand that I just used, I like the best, which are Lelix. And then the brand that somebody sent me are Tulips. These ones smear really easily. So just so you guys know. These ones are more like, say you quilted something on white, like just quilting only, whole cloth quilt, but on white. And you wanted to add some flair and create your own whatever. You can color your quilting in with these because these smear. It's good. Like they just make a big mess on the fabric. These ones have two tips. It has a like a highlighter crooked type tip and then a flat fine tip. So these ones are a lot better for writing words on fabric than these ones are. But both of them lose their ink pretty quickly. Because some of those colors in the other one, they're pretty much done for. All right.
Move the camera over there?
No, you don't need to.
One or the other.
All right, I'm going to set that on the floor for a second while I find the bottom of this one. This one I don't have to put it in the center. This one could just go right here. It's a completely square quilt, so I'm just going to add it to a side. I kind of like put it above a corner just a little bit. So it doesn't have to be. It would be like where you found a blanket tag, you know what I mean? Or a comforter or whatever, you know. You just put it down in one of the corners. And I backstitch them so they're not easily able to be ripped off. All right, we're going to start with this one. For both these quilts, I needed 6 2.5-inch strips each. So I just put 12 strips together, and whatever's left over from this one will go to the next one. I also should remove my paper thing before I stitch it. And then we'll put it back on when I'm done stitching. And I'm just using 2.5-inch binding. That's what I always use, especially for the bigger quilts. Is there an end to this? Is it a continuous piece? I mean, come on now. Oh, I found it. Woohoo! Wow.
It's one big, long, never-ending.
That was weird. Usually it's like seeable. Guess that's what I get for throwing things around everywhere. I end up getting it all messed up. With binding, this is just, it's not always. This doesn't always happen. But 99% of the time, if you find that first seam and you place it somewhere down at the bottom, about right here, you know, and then stitch all the way around, you shouldn't have any seams landing in a corner. So far, with, like I said, like 99% of quilts, I don't have a seam landing in the corner. So I don't have to pre-binding, clip binding on just to make sure it's not landing in the corner. Like on show quilts, I would do that, like this one, just in case. But for like general rule, as long as the first seam isn't near a corner, then no seams should land in a corner. And that's just a rule of thumb in my world. I don't know how it is for everybody else, but... Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to put it in a different corner because that's kind of long up here. All right. I always leave a tail of like 7 to 10 inches. If you are new to binding, you should do that. Leave a tail like 12 inches, you know? That way you can hook your pieces together. Back stitch at the start and make my way around. I find this to be a very soothing process because I'm finishing the quilt, literally sealing it off, and it's done. So in my brain, I'm like, yes. Like, it's like zone zen. You know, that's how I feel. It's like perfect. And this is probably the fastest thing I do is binding. But it's a good thing, you know, I allow 2 hours for every video, and I got 5 things to put binding on, so they're not big. I have done 5 big quilts in one YouTube video before. Oh, and because I probably won't be on tomorrow, happy 4th of July, everybody. I hope everybody has a safe weekend and are able to, you know, keep your animals calm during all the booming that's going to be happening tomorrow. Because that's just like something that always happens, no matter where you live. There are fireworks. So hopefully everybody has safe, fun, maybe a barbecue, spend time with family. celebrate the independence.
You always put the binding on the back first?
I always put the binding on the back first. This is personal opinion, and some people have scrutinized me for it because it's not right, blah, blah, blah. It's done by machine. But you know what? For one, I don't hand sew. I know hand sewing makes it look all the cleaner. But the real thing is I actually do not like the look of the binding sewed to the front and then wrapped to the back. Because if you think about it, this is me telling you, when I fold this around, I only have a little bit of binding showing right here. But if you look at the front side, when it's nicely wrapped around, you see more of the binding, which gives it that final finished look, like a finished border look. You know, it adds that extra flair that it needs to finish a quilt off. For some reason, that smaller rounded amount on the back that happens, I don't like that. That's just not my thing. So I do it from the front, hook to the back and roll it to the front. I've even entered show quilts in shows and did that exactly same thing, wrapped it from the back to the front, and guess what? I've won awards. So don't let the quilt please tell you that you have to do it a certain way, because guess what? You don't. There's no quilt please.
They're not here.
You do what you think looks best, and I think it looks best wrapped from the back to the front. So there you go. So I always do it this way. There's been no time, I don't think I have any quilt that I've ever put it on the front and then wrapped the back, actually. None. And guess what? I like it that way. I just love that I made the epic quilt video. I'm loving that I made all that yardage from the panels, because it like gives this awesome look to the back of all the quilts that I'm going to be using it on. And no two will be the same on the backs because the way I made the yardage. So if you haven't watched that video yet, you probably should. That's what I was doing before the live, is making more A, B, C, and D panels so that I can add some more. Since I took off from the yardage, I need to add more to it. So I started piecing some more pieces. The only problem with binding in the summertime is I'm already hot. Having this on my lap.
I believe it.
I'm like already soaked in sweat.
I believe it.
I guess I don't need to go to a gym because here's my workout. Problem is I'm working out my left arm instead of my right arm. I know, I need a backwards machine so I could start working the opposite arm.
Any update on the start of the
Any update on the start of the Tula Butterfly? Sunday, I will know. For sure, when we're doing it and whose channel we're doing it on. Because it's me and my friend Eric from Treasure Heart Creations that are doing it, collabing together to do it and have some fun and make a Tula Butterfly. We have been talking about it forever, and now that I finished the double wedding ring, we can start. Problem is every other Thursday I'm on here live streaming, and every Sunday I'm on here. So, and his free days from work are only Saturdays and Sundays. So it's kind of hard for us to get a good schedule together. Oh, where is it going to stop? I need to stop right after that seam. Okay, lay this down nice and flat. Gonna just take this and lay it open on here because I don't feel like doing it any other way. And then I'm gonna place this over because I'm so cool I can do that. Take my scissors and cut it right there. All right. I'm going to hook my two ends together. Make sure it fits and then snip away the excess. Throw these down in my pile. And then I'm going to finger press my seam. Why? Because I really don't need to press it. There's no need at this point. Put my seam guide back about where I had it. Change my stitch length back. I stitch binding on with about a 2.5, 2.6 stitch length, somewhere around there. And then on the front, sometimes I'll do a 3 millimeter, but most times I just leave it on the 2.5 or so. I'm gonna have a little tiny pucker on this side, but not, well, it's a little tiny pucker on that side too. But you know what? I don't care. This one is not a show quilt. The other one I'll pay attention to. This one, I didn't need to pay attention. All right, I'm just gonna wrap it to the front and sew 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. All the way around. There's also people that I've seen, because I watch videos too, you know. I've seen that they top stitch. They, instead of flipping the whole quilt over, they just fold these over and then stitch in this stitch. I don't like that either. Just saying, you do you, but only because if you stitch in this ditch right here, that means you're going to have a lip on the front side that's going to be flappy. And if your batting or something is showing on the front, then you can lift that little lip and see, you know, because not all quilts, like this one has a little bit of batting showing, you know, they're not all completely, you know, perfect. They shift on the long arm and so on and so forth. So once I trim it straight, it's not perfect. I try not to have this little lip right here. I try not to have more than 1/8 of an inch. I don't want that. And if I stitched from the back side, my stitch would be right here. So I'd have almost 1/4 of an inch on the front, just flappy. So I like it like this. This is the way I do things. Oh, when I first started quilting, you want to know how big my binding was? It was like 3 and 4 inches, and it was sloppy as sloppy gets because I didn't know what I was doing. Honestly, I didn't even know it was called binding. I just knew that I had to seal off the edge of the quilt. So I made it like bias tape and then just sewed it all the way around. I didn't even know how to miter a corner or anything. I was very, very, very educated in the beginning. I had to teach myself. All right, there.
What normal stitch length do you use?
Normally I use a 2.0 stitch length for everything, like piecing. But for top stitching, I always switch it to 2.5 or 3. On bags, I always do a 3mm when I'm top stitching because I think it looks clean. On quilts, I don't always do that unless it's, you know, unless it calls for that. You know, you can just read a quilt and know what you need to do with it, or a project, or anything. This was like the perfect choice, polka dotted yellow. Goes with it so perfectly. A polka dot and a stripe are always really good for binding. Stripe being the best. A diagonal stripe is even better. Those look really cool. Okay, come on, loose threads, threads, threads. They're just threads everywhere.
Do you use a walking foot when binding?
I do not use a walking foot for anything, really. I don't like the walking foot for the Juki. They should have came up with a better design. Because the one that we have for the Juki TL 2010Q or any of the TL models is this big, huge, bulky thing. Now, all walking foots are somewhat bulky, but this one, when you start sewing on this, with this, even at slow, it sounds like a machine gun. Like, it is loud, it's clanky, and it's annoying. I mean, I've had to use it for some things, but definitely not for binding. It's too bulky and loud and annoying for binding. I just use the foot, I call it the 1/4 inch foot, because whatever, but it's the sew anything foot. There's probably a name for all of the feet that goes for machines, but do I know them? No. After 9 years of sewing, I don't know the names of none of this kind of junk. Some people can actually, like on my other machines, the ones that have zigzag and all that, and they have the little press the button and the foot comes off and you can put another one, the quick release feet. Some people even know, where's my C foot? I haven't seen the C one. Oh, I need to use the J for this project. Or they know what letter that foot is. I don't even know that. I don't know what half of them are for. I didn't know a rolled hem foot when I first got the Juki. It's got a little 1/8 inch rolled hem foot. I didn't even know what that was. I was like, how do you even sew with this thing? Where's the thread even go? I was like, what? I didn't know that kind of stuff. I'm a quilter. I don't need to know it. Although I have used the hem foot a lot, especially recently. Because I've been hemming dresses for like winter formal and prom and stuff like
for
that.
Neighbors. For neighbor girl to go to prom and winter formal.
Yep. Doing alterations. I never thought I would do alterations, but I do. And it's only for specific people. That's it. It is definitely not one of those things where I do it all the time. Stay tucked in. I like to tuck in all the threads as I go, but some of them, they just don't want to tuck in. like these really long ones that are coming off. I think it's this yellow fabric. It's very sheddy. It's a nice fill quality to it, but it's definitely fraying. Oh, I just went over the tag. I could feel the machine go over the hump. Yep, I just went over the tag. Good. It's good. No, maybe that's the green fabric shedding. I don't know. One of these is shedding a lot. Almost done with this one. We'll move on to the next.
Salsa about done?
No, this one's not salsa. This one's
Oh, this one's Fiesta?
Fiesta.
Oh. Boy, I'm getting all broke up.
Salsa is on the floor, and I'm going to be super ultra cautious with that one since it is going to be in a show. I'm going to make sure that no seams land in the corners prior to. That way it's 100% good.
We just found out the other day when our quilt show is. Why don't you tell them?
Oh yeah, we just found out in February will be the quilt show for our area. For here where I live, there will be a quilt show in February. I'm hoping where I found out from the person I found out from, she's not sure when in February. She just knows it's in February, and
It used to always be in November.
it used to always be in November at my birthday around here, but it's in February, and I'm not sure if it's the beginning of the month, or the end of the month, but at the end of February, I'll be in Virginia and North Carolina because I'm going to QuiltCon in North Carolina in Raleigh. And I was hoping to have a QuiltCon entry for this year too, but you know, I never always get to do the things that I want. All right, coming up on the end. I had that pucker on the back side, so now the front's kind of like being a little funky. But the next one I'm going to be super cautious about. All right, coming up to my starting stitches. And then I just stitch, I don't know, about 2 or 3 inches beyond. Oops, I cut the thread instead of pulling it away. I usually just pull it away, but I'm on video and I never do anything like I'm supposed to. All right, yeah, it's kind of wrinkly right here where that back pucker is, but it's not horrible. You can't see it from far away. So, do you see this? When it is wrapped to the front, do you see how clean that looks? I think it looks clean. That's personal opinion. And on the back, when you look at the back and you see that binding, it looks like a bubble going around. Like, I don't know, it's weird. I don't like that look. That's just me, but I don't like it. All right, next quilt. And then we're going to grab this binding and we're going to pre-clip it on. So I'm literally gonna lay it here on the table. Find.
How many hand clips?
Oh no, I can do it. There we go, right here.
Stand right here. The clips are right here. I can get them to you.
I'm gonna
Using
put
these
this.
clips, right?
No, I was just gonna bring the bucket over. That's how I do it, and dump it out.
All right.
Put that there. Let's see where this is gonna land. So I pre-clip and I even miter the corners to make sure that it's 100% flat. it's going to shift. It always shifts, whether I pre-clip it or not. It's just because fabric is slightly stretchy. All right. Let's see. Okay, no seam. We can keep going. So this is very rare that I do this. But this is how you can do it to make sure that your seams don't land in the corners, because it's really hard to sew them when they do land in the corners. I mean, it's not hard, but...
Well, you're doing this one fancy since it's a show quilt.
Look at, see? It made a tie. That's how messed up this got. How does that happen?
I have no idea.
I don't know either. I had it just laying on top of the quilts. That's it. That's so funny. Tied itself in a knot. I have like the oddest show quilts, you know? Like this one, the colors are like whatever. And then I have that one that has the bargello in the middle, and I quilted the sun on the top and bottom in the black. Like, I have the weirdest quilts. This one can actually go to QuiltCon too. This one has could go in the negative space color category.
Yes.
Or,
honestly, I think this one would do better at QuiltCon than it will at our local.
Yeah, this one would probably do better at QuiltCon. But I'm going to enter wherever I enter. All right, not one seam in a corner. Yay! I love it when a plan works out.
And since you quilted this in 3 different colors, the back looks even cooler.
Yeah, because the back has all the different colors.
Well, yeah, the back you can see each color.
All right. This one lands almost at a whole seam. That kind of sucks. Gonna have a seam next to a seam. Oh, I don't know why I did that, because I'm gonna be taking them off. All right, let's sit down and attach this. Very carefully, like. Because I want to make sure I have no stretching, no pulling, I don't want anything to be funky. Make sure that my binding is going on nicely. All right, I'm going to start at right here. Go over more, about there. Wrap around nicely.
Is the one in North Carolina the Bridge of Friendship?
No, the Bridge of Friendship is the one here in town.
Oh, okay. Well, that's February 6th and 7th.
February 6th and 7th? Okay, so I'll be able to go to both, but I'm going to have to choose what quilts go where, because I definitely hope that I can enter QuiltCon this year, because I really wanted to last year with my dream quilt, but with client jobs, I never got it done.
Well, plus with the cost.
And the cost, because I'm not part of the guild. I got to pay to ship it there and ship it back, and yeah.
Well, you have to pay to enter it. You have to pay to ship it.
Yep, pay to enter it, pay to ship it both ways. Oh, what am I doing? Let's change that stitch length. Being very careful about this. And it's already... QuiltCon is February 19th or 18th through whatever.
I'll do it.
I don't remember. It's February, end of February. Because I think I'm going to be going to Becca's the 19th through, or the 18th through something. I stay at Becca's with Becca for 2 weeks. when I go.
19th through 22nd.
19th through 22nd
Raleigh, North
in
Carolina.
Raleigh. And then the year after that is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. At that, I'll probably only go for the quilt show. I like QuiltCon. QuiltCon's my thing, and it's where I get to see my friends every year. And then whoever comes and meets. So those of you who can't make it to North Carolina will probably get to see me in Georgia, hopefully. But that's not till 2027, so I'm not really worried about that right now. Right to that corner. Refold it. I just realized how good my little tiny ribbon candy looks. It like totally matches up nicely. Not very good at it when I do it in big form, but in tiny form, it looks great. Oh, I forgot to remove the paper from the front side. I hope I didn't stitch over it. I felt the pin literally under my hand. Oh, that's funny. All right. Oh, what am I doing? Fold it first, then turn it. Oops. All right, final corner for the attaching. When I top stitch, I'm going to be super careful. Make sure that my stitch stays exactly 1/8 all the way around. Oh, it looks like I almost have one strip more than I honestly needed. All right. Lay this on here. Cut it right place it on there. Bring this down to it. And I kind of yanked on it a little bit, so that way I don't have any puckers. But I am going to have two seams next to each other. I hate when that happens, but you know, no other way to do this. Lay flat, nice and flat, stay flat. All right, perfect. Sometimes I lay the scissors down and that magnetic seam guide catches them and hooks itself right to them. All right.
One person says the foot you showed earlier looks scary.
The foot I used
Yeah.
earlier. Oh, yeah,
The one you
the
showed,
walking
the
foot.
walking foot, the one that sounds like a machine gun.
Yeah, I don't know why. I never understood that. I mean, yes, it has a bulky end on most other machines that I have a walking foot for, but it's not like that one. The one for this machine is, I don't know, maybe the person that designed it didn't use it to hear how loud it is on this machine, because it literally is super loud. Even when I first got the machine and it was a little bit quieter than it currently is, because after years of using it, it becomes a loud machine. That walking foot was always loud. Alrighty. Now to flip it and then very carefully sew it. Ooh, this is nice on here. Right there in that spot. There we go. And I could use binding clips to fold it all down in advance, but I'm not going to do that either. Just going to be very careful. I tried not to quilt where I'd lose my stitching around the edge, but unfortunately, I am going to lose some of my tops to the feathers. It's not horrible, but it's not the best. All right. Fold it, miter it, stitch it. That's what I need is a drink of water.
I was going to ask, do you need one?
I don't need one. I just have plenty. So it's not quite the same yellow as the yellow, but it works. corner to make all nice and pretty. And all the loose threads. Or technically they're attached, they're just not attached to exactly where they're supposed to be. I had so much fun quilting this. I want to quilt another quilt like this so I could just do whatever I want, wherever I want it. Technically, that's what I do with every quilt. I quilt whatever I want, wherever I want. Even on client quilts. I just do whatever and I have fun. I still have more corners. Wow, I thought I was getting close, but no, I'm not. Any questions? I feel like awkward silence. Any questions, subjects that you guys want to discuss? I mean, I'm open here. It's morning time. I may not be fully, braininated, but, like people say caffeinated, but I'm not fully braininated, but I sure can have some kind of answers. Come on, fold over. My fingers don't want to fold this corner for some strange reason. There we go. Stay. Let's get closer. Maybe it'll stay better.
Tell them what you're doing on 4th of July. Tell them about something.
4th of July. Well, we're going to go with a neighbor to the Elks Lodge and have a barbecue. And my friend here, Diane, she's a local and she is coming with. She's a quilter too. She's probably in the chat right now.
I didn't see her, but she could be here. She
She normally is here in the chat.
She might be. Oh yeah, it says the name's there.
Yeah. So we will be going to the thing. She's actually bringing her nephew. He went with us last year too. He was the most, like, out of all young, proper out of all kids, he was the most
Very well behaved.
Well-behaved, little, what I call a little gentleman. Like, he was, thank you, ma'am, yes, ma'am, and like things that you'd never see from 11 and 12-year-olds. Like,
Had his cowboy hat on.
he had his
good,
cowboy
too.
hat
I tell
on. He
you
was a
what.
cute-looking little guy. I mean, he's still cute-looking because he's what? He's almost 13 now.
1 year older.
I'm like,
he's only 1 year older than
yeah,
last year.
he is only 1 year older than last year. But yeah, I have never, even my own kids. I mean, I taught them to be, nice and whatever, courteous, but they weren't like this kid. So we had a good time last year, and I'm pretty sure we'll have a good time this year. Our neighbor is hurt though, so he's walking a little funny. He tore his ACL golfing. So he's struggling, but he is 80 years old, so
81.
81, because yeah, he's 81, and we're going with him.
Do you thread all 3 holes on the pre-tension bar?
Do I thread all 3 holes? Yes, I do, on the little knobby thing up here. Yes, I thread all 3. I think, if I remember correctly from a video I watched a long time ago, I think the only time you only thread 2 of them, where you go through the top one and then the 3rd hole, is with like silk or shimmery. Shimmery. There's a word for it. Shimmery threads. Oh my goodness! Again, it's morning time.
Shiny threads?
Shiny threads.
What are
Yeah.
you trying to say? I don't know.
Metallic threads.
Oh.
Metallic threads, silky type threads, things like that is when you only use 2 holes. But I don't sew clothing on here, so I just go through all 3 holes. But I watched a video, when I first got this machine, it was a long time ago, on how to thread it, because obviously this threads way differently than, what I started with a long, long time ago. All right, I'm going to very carefully come up to where back stitch. All right, pull it away, then snip. Oh, and the thread that I used, the green is the one that glows under the black light. The orange kind of glows under black light, but the yellow, I didn't actually pay attention if the yellow does.
So this quilt's going to be really cool.
So this one under black light would look really cool. So
too bad when we enter it, they can't show it under black light because they didn't your other quilt either.
This one I paid a little bit more attention to with my 1/8 of an inch all the way around. My mitered corners look amazing. I didn't lose too much of my stitching of my feathers around the edge, so that was a plus.
Let's show them up close. So they can
He's
see.
going to bring a mitered corner to you so you can see. This blends with that orange, and even though it's not the same yellow, it blends with the orange really well. All right, we are done with yellow thread and moving on to black. And yes, for those that are asking or gonna ask, I tie my thread and then pull it through.
I'm gonna hand you one of these.
That way I don't have to like sit and try to weave it through everything. Yeah, hand me one. And the binding and the tags.
When you do sashing on a block, do you always use the same width?
When I put sashing on blocks, do I always use the same width? No, I do not. It depends on how big the block is. If I have a 10-inch block, my go-to sashing for 10-inch blocks would be 2.5 inches. If I'm putting sashing on a 5-inch square, then I'll probably use a 1.25 inch, or thereabouts. If I don't want to cut 1.25s, I'll cut 1.5s, so that they finish at 1 inch between.
Are these for all 3?
Yeah, all 3.
Okay, which one is getting the black?
Okay, The black is going on the little tiny one.
Okay, which one's getting the purple?
The purple is going on the purple one.
So the white's this?
And the white is the table runner.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that binding for all of them?
That's binding for all of them.
Okay. Is it all one complete thing? You're just
It's all one complete thing, and it's probably tangled like the last one.
Well, I was going to pull it apart here, but I don't know if you want me to.
No, I'm okay. I'll get it. All right. Find an end. There it is. Throw the rest on the floor.
Throw the rest on the floor.
I kind of want to name this table runner, but I don't at the same time. Like Asian cuisine. Because that kind of sounds cool. You know, for a table runner.
It is for a table. You
And
don't need to name it.
I don't
Just
need.
let it
I'm
be.
not going to name it. I
You
was
can name
just
it.
saying that. That's funny though. All right, I'm going to trim my tag to size because I make them oversized, like I said, just to, you know, make sure. Okay. We're going to put the tag, I think I'm going to put it on the center of a side. That seems about right to me. Yeah, center of a side. All right, let's find a seam on here and then walk it up.
So thank you, Jim. Put the link in for when you made this.
Oh, thank you, Jim. Yep, he put the link in for when I made it. Jim is always on it when it comes to the links, and I appreciate that.
Because your husband doesn't know how.
Because my husband doesn't know how, and I try to teach him things, but he still doesn't. I don't know. It's kind of funny. We just let him be. I mean, if we didn't have computers as long as we did, we both kind of just type like this.
I type good.
You type good, but we both don't do the with the keyboards. We don't type really fast.
I had typing in high school.
So did I. I had typing in high school too on an old Apple thing, an Apple computer. And I used to have a brother typewriter. I loved that thing because I used to write my poems.
Even though I'm younger than you, I used an actual typewriter with paper.
Yeah, I used the typewriter too. We got rid of it when we moved here. Remember my brother typewriter?
No, I'm saying in school. I learned on.
Oh, you learned on a typewriter in school. Okay. Yeah, I used to write poetry in my younger years. So my parents bought me a typewriter and I drug it around with me everywhere so that I could write my poetry. And if you're curious, my poetry is in 2 different books.
And it's very beautiful.
And of American poetry. I don't remember exactly the name of it. Teenage American Poetry is one of them. I don't remember the other one, but American something, whatever. And they're back from the 90s. I'd actually have to find my awards because I have awards for writing my poetry. That's how I made it into the books. So I wouldn't call myself a published author, but I am in a book from when I was a teenager. And I still can write poetry. I just can't think of words as well as I used to. One more stitch. There we go. Oh yeah, the black is going to look great on the back and on the front with this binding. I'm glad I chose to go with the black color. Plus I didn't have any more of that. After making all these little projects, I didn't have any more of the grunge. The gray grunge that I used. Which is kind of funny because I used the grunge on the front and then I used the Moda speckles or whatever this is called on the back. Or dots or something like that. Which is the same company. just a table runner, so I'm going to continuously try to sew it on here. It's a long seam. All right, so let's see, where am I gonna stop? About right here, okay. Oh man, another seam next to a seam. Oh, I hate when that happens. Oh well, I will live with it. Why? Because I'll live with it. It's just a table runner. Okay. Everything wants to slide on me because this thing is so big, it's hanging on the floor. It's long. I don't even remember. It's like 70 inches long or 69 inches long or something. Probably should have left the tag on it, but I didn't. I didn't make one for these, that's right. When I'm done stitching this on, I'll have Scott bring it over so you guys can see the stitching and stuff on this quilt and then the next one and so on and so forth.
Do you use soft and stable on this runner?
Soft and stable? No, I don't use that kind of stuff on table
I
runners.
don't know what that is.
I used Pellon batting.
Oh, is that what it is? It's a batting?
Yeah, I just use regular batting.
Then I could have answered that.
Yeah. This up, take the stitch length down. I'm not even going to measure because I know it's correct. I do this so often. After making over 1,000 quilts, you pretty much know what you're doing. You know what I mean? All right. Top stitch.
Top stitch.
Oh, yeah, that black looks good. It's like the perfect choice. Oh, I ripped another nail.
Sorry.
Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't finger press that seam. I wonder, it's kind of funky right there. It's not horrible. I forgot to finger press the seam.
You need me to help you do something?
Nope. It's already done. One stitch, one stitch. There we go. So this could be a table runner or a bed runner. It could be either one because it is long. It could also hang on a wall or the back of the door like someone said on Sunday when I made it. Scott was the one that chose the quilting. He said, you got to do spirally quilting on it.
I did. It's like the Asian painting with the waves.
Yeah.
Although I think the spirals look more like winds, but it looks like waves too.
Yeah.
Because that's how the painting looks.
Says it looks like the waves painting and
Yes,
on Asian paintings with the koi fish and all those kind of paintings. You know, they have the waves and it spirals around it. Yeah, he thinks it looks like that.
Yeah.
The quilting.
I forget the guy's name. Very famous artist.
One stitch, one stitch. There we go. Coming around the tag. Stitching over it nicely. Final corner. Even with this little lightweight table runner on me, I'm still super soaking sweat. Something about quilting in the summertime in Arizona just, maybe that's why there's less quilters in Arizona than in other states. Woo! And I'm indoors and the temperature is set on the air conditioner. So I shouldn't be, but because I'm literally working. Doesn't that look great with the black?
I want to see the quilting too.
It looks so amazing with the black.
Here, you just leave it like that. I'll bring the
Oh,
camera up.
he's going to bring the camera up close so you guys could see it. So it's just like a spirally. I didn't quilt in this. I mean, I did. I quilted in the ditch around all this. Just because I wanted to leave that section puffy. But the black finishes it perfectly. Like, I really like that. All right. And then the back looks like that. All right, next.
Do you have any suggestions on how to fold? Oh, sorry.
Do I have
The question went away on that. Do you have any suggestions on how to fold and sew the corners when doing the binding?
how to fold and sew the corners when doing the binding. Well, I'll show you. I'll have him bring the camera close on the next one. Can I have the next little one?
You want that one or this one?
The little one's fine.
You want the little teeny one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he'll bring the camera around.
You're going to bring the camera on this side?
Yes.
Well, I'll wait till you get over there.
He's going to wait till I gotta get the tag on first. All right. Just which way do I want it to hang? It doesn't really matter because it's not directional, but I'm going to put it up and down like this. So I'm going to put this in the bottom center, or at least what I think is the center, because, you know.
Okay, you ready for me to move the camera now?
Yep.
Okay.
Let me get this binding out of the way, though. We don't want the camera thing stuck on it. All right, he's going to bring the camera around.
Where's the view?
I'll do it.
Oh, okay, I'm just gonna get it. I was gonna get it.
Right about. I don't want it in the way of my knee lift. Oops, or my chair leg. Sorry, guys. All right, binding. So I'm gonna lay this on here. This is a small project, so we're just gonna pretend I'm sewing it real quick to find out where all these seams are gonna land, if any. Okay, there's one seam right there. We're pretending real quick to see. Okay, no corner seams. Perfect. So this is where I want it. I'm going to put I use a seam guide. I have to. I sew crooked. I am a crooked sewer. I'm super crooked sewer. I'm going to put this under. I'm leaving my tail. All right. This one is thick, by the way. See how thick that batting was? It's a very high loft polyester that I used for this one. So I always start off with a back stitch. And normally you would stitch off the edge at an angle, but I'm not doing that. So I'm going to come to 1/4 of an inch before the end. So right there. And then back stitch. So when doing your corners from the back side, when you're attaching to the back, 45, just lift that fabric up and over. You're going to straighten it along the edge right here. So you have a nice straight edge. And then I use my fingers right here, as you can see. I use my fingers at the edge of the quilt to fold it over. And then I just move my fingers out of the way. And now I have it nice and straight there and nice and straight there. And then I always just come in off the edge. I don't come in 1/4 inch because we still want that tacked down. I'm going through lots of thickness. All right, and we're going to come up to another corner. So some people, I'm going to move this out of the way so I can show you how some people do it. They can pay attention and sew straight. I apparently can't. Stop at about 1/4 inch. Some people tilt it like this. Oh, I need one more stitch forward. There we go. Tilt it and then sew off that corner. I find there's no difference no matter which way you do it. So now that corner is sewn and it stops me from yanking this too far. And then fold it over, move my fingers, and then start the stitch. I cannot sew straight, so I mean I can, but I have to sew slow, very slow. And I just sew on down. I'm going to stop 1/4 inch before the edge. Instead of just stitching off the edge, you're just stopping 1/4 inch and then back stitching. And I know this is black with black, so let me try to hold that really close. So you can see I came 1/4 inch from the edge. You can see that black stitch right there. Lining it and flipping it. I don't even have to lay it out anymore over all these years. I just kind of turn the corner and flip things. Oops, I just yanked on it accidentally. It's such a small project. We'll be at the flip of it in a second. I didn't even measure how big this little guy was. Oops, fold it over. All right, where do we need to stop? I just need to stop about right there, literally coming in on the edge. So for the binding, this is how I do this. Here's my bottom one, right? I'm going to take the rest of the binding. I'm going to slide it open with my fingers. And I'm going to lay this edge on the edge right here. Just like this. Lay that on there. Then I'm going to take this, straighten it out, and lay it on top of that, smoothing everything out. Now the bottom side right here is where I'm going to slide my scissors under there, aligning it with that end cutting. So now I have cut off the excess. I always do this. This is exactly how I do it every single time. I take the top one first. I never worry about it. I never mess anything up. Top one first. Open it up. So that way you can see the bump of your fold up. Then that bottom one, you're just going to pinch the quilt and bring it up. Remember, it's still going straight forward. Now I'm going to pinch it open and my fold is going to face down. So both my folds touch each other. I never turned anything, as you noticed. I never moved anything out of the way. I literally just flipped it, like, lifted the fabric a little bit on the quilt itself. And then that bottom one right here, I'm literally going to keep that on the line of my seam tape. And most people should do this first. Check and make sure it's flat, and it is. Pinch it back up. Once you know it's flat and everything's good and not tangled, cut away the excess of the 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to, while it's kind of bent like this, I'm going to finger press that seam. You don't need to do it with the iron. And then just open it back up. I'm going to start about, I don't know, a little bit above where I ended. I'm not very good at this, but we're going to attempt it. And then I'm going to stitch the rest of the way down. And see, I have a little tiny pucker. That's a couple little puckers today. I've been puckering all day. That's okay. Top stitch. So we're going to flip it over. I'm going to pull this out tight. So pull it out nice and tight. Then fold it over. So I'm making sure to get this edge. You don't want it to be saggy, so don't go like this because then you have nothing in between here. You need to pull it all the way over like this. And this is where some people do the binding clips and then they stitch it by hand. I don't like hand stitching, so I never do that. Instead, I'm going to put this under and I'm going to put my needle 1/8 of an inch away from this edge, not this edge of the black. Obviously, you're not going to see my stitching because I'm using black thread on a black quilt, on black fabric. But I use my fingers. I slide any excess threads into it, which also allows me to pull it around like this. So this is the tip. Slide your fingers, pull it around, hold it. I always keep my fingers in front or else you'll end up puckering or waving or it'll push itself over. Keep your fingers on top. Move them as you come up to them. Just go a little bit higher. This one's kind of it's got thick batting, so it's making it a little bit harder. Now, here's my corner. We're going to lift it up. We're going to fold that bottom up to it. I used to just do the side. It doesn't matter whatever way you want to do it, but I just fold the bottom up because it's easier to grab. I'm going to hold my finger right here. Then I'm going to smooth this out right here. Like a little 45-degree miter, and then I'm going to use my finger to push it over and match up the two corners together. So they usually line right up if you did it correctly. And then I stitch right up to it. Since I don't stitch off the edge, so when you miter a corner, blah, 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 and then you put it together, some people I've seen, they'll stitch the miter down on the miter. I don't do that. So I come in right where you can see, it's so hard because I'm sewing with black. This corner right here touching this sides, when you see that, take one stitch into it into the new fabric and 1 stitch back into that other sides. Then needle down and pivot, and then start going forward again. I don't know if that made any sense, but I always take that extra stitch on that because I want that corner to be fully tacked down so that way nothing can get in this right here and rip it, if that makes any sense, because it's open. It's not fully open, but it can't be ripped because I took back stitches. Yeah, this batting is super thick. It's wanting to go every which way.
Tell
But
them you used the poly so it would be puffy.
yeah, I used polyester so that it'd be super puffy. So this whole entire thing is just a mound of super puff.
I have one of those magnet thingies, but mine moves. What am I doing incorrectly?
If your magnet is moving, that means it's not on. If you have a set down in bobbin case and you have that plastic on that front corner of this, then that's why your magnet's not sticking and it's moving. All right, so I'm going to push that one up. I'm going to fold this over until it matches. It's not matching, so I'm going to kind of pull up this way a little bit more, changing the angle just a smidgen. And then I'm going to, this is so hard because it's wanting to, I'm going to move this magnetic thing out of the way because it's in my way. I'm going to come right up to it, stitch into this once, and then out of it and into it again, tacking down that corner. This batting is so thick. It's trying to push the foot off of the fabric, off of the binding because it's so thick. It's like a 6-ounce loft. I like to use that with some of the little things because see the puff that's created? Oh, it feels cool too. You can see it's almost like 3D. See that? So one cool thing about using polyester batting. It's getting cool fluff. All right, so I'm just gonna, down at the bottom of your screen, you can see, I usually do it about right here. As soon as it touches the table. I'm gonna get some of these threads real quick because they're black. And all right, pushing it up, fold it over. Oh, that corner matched nicely. First try. Very carefully walk myself to it. In, out, in to the corner. Trying not to hit the stand with my knee lift, so I'm barely lifting it. Stitch on down. And again, I'm still pulling this out and around, using my other finger to slide threads in and smooth. So if you have arthritic fingers like me, after a while, especially quilt, king size quilts, adding the binding, it definitely affects the fingers. So just beware of that. All right, last corner. Up, push, flip. It's literally that easy to miter a corner. Oh, that puff. That's going. This is the only one I used polyester in. On the last side now, I'm just going to give the whole thing a tug and very carefully try not to let that batting push me off of it again. Snip away my starting thread and stitch into it. Oh wow, what happened there? Did I lose? I got tangled on something. Oh. Always at the end, right? Oh man, the bobbin's stuck in there. There we go. Oh, it's a tangled one.
I'll get it.
Need another black bobbin.
It was almost empty anyway.
Yeah.
Probably why.
I don't think that's back stitched enough, so I'm going to real quickly just go over that area.
Oh, did you need this? Sorry. I only need it for 2 seconds.
All right, where did it end? Right here. Come on. I want to be on my stitching exactly.
I saw the thread that was left, honey.
Yeah. Right to there. There we go. Now it's good. And on the front, you can't even tell because I used black on black.
Just that little bit.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all you missed.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
tangled up. Oh, I ripped stitches on the quilt, and now I have little tails I didn't clip as well. So usually when I'm done with a project, I go through and clip all needed clipping stuffs. I try to get everything. I also go through and get any basting stitches, which there's one right there. I'm gonna do that later, but you can see my basting stitches right here along the bottom. So you can see if I yank it like that, I can pull all my basting stitches out. I do that later. I do it right before it goes to, I either do it right after I'm done binding, or I do it right before it goes to its client, to my client. All right, so that is nice and bound. See, beautiful corner. Perfect. All right, next, one more, and then I'm done. And then today will be done. Look at that. I was able to get them all in one. You can put the camera back now, though. All right, so I'm going to throw a tag on this one. I'm just going to do the bottom corner. It's not quite directional of a quilt, but I'm going to make sure that I had those going in like that. So this will be the bottom. He's showing you the quilt, by the way, while I'm getting the tag situated on the bottom of this one. Right there is where it's going to go. Oh. All right, let's put this seam guide back on here. And grab some binding. Ouch. All right. Doesn't matter where I start as long as there's no seam right here. Just gonna start stitching it on. Oops. I went a little too far on that. Well, so I get for not paying attention. I feel like I got quiet again. Oh, I have a seam landing in a corner now. Trying to prevent it this whole entire time, but this is a smaller quilt, so it's okay. I mean, it's not exactly in the corner, but it's next to the edge, literally. It's in the first fold. Over. All right, same thing. I made more than I needed. I'm gonna just open this up, place it on top, smooth everything out so that I don't get puckers, but you know, that happens anyway. Come to the edge of that one, place this one over it. And cut. Oh, it's landing on a seam. That's why. That's why it was hard to cut. It's black, so I can't tell. It's gonna get cut off though right now because it's only in the corner. So I won't have two seams in a row. I will literally be on the corner. Oh, next Tuesday, I'll probably remind everyone on Sunday, but next Tuesday, there's going to be a new video coming out.
And it's going to be cool.
And it's going to be cool. At least I had fun making it.
You had fun playing with the green screen.
Yeah, I had fun playing with a green screen. Because, you know, I'm, trying to level up my skills in editing. Even though I'm a quilter, I shouldn't have to know how to edit, but I do. No pucker on that one. I did a good job. All right, let's go all the way around. And then this puppy will also be done. And I'll have done every single one of the quilts. And that was my goal, to get them all bound. I had fun quilting this one. I tried something new around the border. Obviously, it's not a thick border, so, if I do this on like a, say, 5-inch border, this design, I think it will look really cool. But I just was playing around, so that's what I like to do when I custom quilt things. I just like to mess around. Making things up as I go. Making each and everything I do unique.
Is there an easy way to remember how to join batting?
Is there an easy way to remember how to join batting? Well, batting, if you're franken batting, it's really easy. You just get some batting tape and put it together. You straighten the edge, put those two edges together, and put the tape on it with the iron, and bam, done.
Oh, binding. Sorry,
easy
you
way.
said the wrong word.
Easy way to remember now. What?
How to join binding.
How to join binding? Yeah, always, always. If you want to remember the same exact thing every single time, when you're joining the two ends, it's coming out like this. If this was my top piece, I always open that top piece the same exact way, and I lay that down first. Then I bring up my bottom piece, and that, if it was sewn on, always opens up and goes on top of it sideways on a 45. So I always remember by brain-wise, if I was having some kind of severe brain fog where I wouldn't remember this, I would always remember that the bump touches the bump. So mountains together, because this is a mountain and this is a mountain. So you want to put the mountains touching. You don't want to put the valley touching the mountain because then you're going to twist everything. So you want your mountains to join each other. I've been doing it so long, it's like second nature now. And I used to do, I tried, you know, bringing the bottom up thing. I see people do that one all the time. I can't remember it that way. I've also seen people fold both edges over and keep an 1/8 of an inch separated from them, and then pin those two together and turn it sideways. And so I think the easiest way is to just remember that the mountains touch. You know, there's no trying to put this seam next to that, and I don't know, whatever. No extra steps. You just do it right where you're sitting. It's the easiest way. And I always put the top piece on the bottom, and you know what I mean? That's another thing. I always have the top piece on the bottom, and the bottom comes up to the top. Because it's easier to pinch the quilt up that way and do it, if that makes any sense at all. I'm all about the easiest way to do something. Maybe repetitive, but at least you don't have to get confused, because I know as we get older, we have issues with confusion and brain fog, and just do it one way. Don't try 500 different ways, because there's so many videos on binding. All right, this is my last corner, and then this one will be done also. And Scott can hold it up so you guys can see the really cool quilting around the edge. It bumps up to this black binding, and it looks really cool. I like it. I think I want to do this on a bigger border. And my circles are not symmetrical, is the word, which is what adds to the interest of it. All right, the only thing I gotta do is take all those basting stitches off on the back side. Look at that. So as you can see, just, I don't know how clear it is on the camera right now. These outer pieces out here like this, they have, well, he's gonna hold it up, but they have stitching that goes opposite of each other, but makes its way in. Then these two center ones have a crosshatch regular. So it's a curved crosshatch to the side and then straight crosshatching. I did that so that it kind of gives that secondary element to the whole thing. And it looks really cool. And then I only did like whatever in these, because I didn't want to put a lot of quilting in Asian fabrics, because they have metallic in them, and I want you to see the metallicness. But this border, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about this design, but it looks so perfect. Just comes around all nicely. None of these are the same size, nor are they the same exact shape. But it just gives that, and the black just looks great around it. Kind of brings it out, doesn't it? I think it brings it out. I think it looks really super cool. I'm going to do it again. It's a lot of stitching, though. A lot of back and forth. This border alone took me 25 minutes, which is a long time for me to spend on a little 2.5-inch border. And then the cross hatches, that took me forever. I think that took like 40 minutes on its own, because that's a lot. And then on the back side, you can't see the stitching because it's purple.
It's purple.
And the thread is Cool Gray 3 is the color I used on my long arm. Now I just got to go through and get all these threads, because they're just everywhere.
They always are.
You know.
Your house is covered with thread.
Yeah, I'm covered in thread right now. Yeah, I think that looks cool. So I had fun quilting all of these. Look at that. 3 projects just out of those. That was cool, right? 40. I had 40 19-inch. If you guys watched So Sunday's video, or if you want to go watch it as a replay because you missed it, I had 40 about 19-inch pieces of jelly roll strips that were probably from Wish or Temu. You know what I mean? And I turned those 40 strips and a bunch of scrap Moda grunge into 3 quilts. They may be little. Well, this one's not so little. It's big, but I mean, it's like perfect. So I was able to do all that with just that little bit of fabric. And I got 3 cute projects. Anyway, any questions or anything while I'm still here? Oh, I love this guy. He's so puffy. I want to see how big it is because I never actually measured how big it was. I'm just going to call it at 15 by 17. It's not really 15 by 17, but so cute. I love puffiness in quilts. When you custom quilt something, I think the puffy looks so cool. I also like heavy quilting too. I'm a heavy quilting quilter. So I had fun. This was great. Any questions though? We can get off of here early and I can actually eat earlier than normal.
Tell them no, you won't be on tomorrow.
No, I will not be on tomorrow. If the 4th of July landed on a Sunday or a breakfast at Tiffany's Thursday, then yeah, I'd be on. But it's landing on a Friday, and I never go on Fridays. That is my friend Becca's day. She goes on Fridays, so that's for her. So, but yeah, I've been on 4th of July in the past because I've recorded the fireworks. Of course, those videos are not available for you guys to watch anymore, but they were there originally. But yeah, I don't go on the 4th anymore unless it falls on a video. I'm going to literally just sit here with this until questions are being asked for the moment. Unless you guys would like to let me go eat breakfast now. Actual food. Actually, it's my lunchtime, but.
Is that a guide, and if so, what kind?
The seam guide is a magnetic seam guide. It is a no-name brand that had Chinese writing on it. So there's no actual words that are in us readable. I have no idea what it said. But yeah,
Can you do the mountain and valley binding thing again?
Mountain and valley binding. So we're going to do some pretend binding real quick. Let me. Yep, I have pieces of junk all over the place here. So we're going to use yellow only because you can see it. We're just going to pretend bind. Just so that you guys can see. We're going to use a piece of fabric. Come close with the camera. Let's cut the edge off of this real quick so that it's a size to pretend bind. I'm just going to put 2 ends together, but we want to pretend that we're doing it, whatever. Here was just a scrap little piece that I free motion quilted to make sure my tension was good. All right. So when you do binding, you always have the opening like this. So you sew it on, blah, 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 right? Like that. And then you sew all the way around, and then you come to your final edge, which would be right here. I'm just going to put a couple stitches there so you can see. So now we want to join. Don't mind any of this other stuff. We just want to join these 2 ends, okay? So I always, you're going to slide this open, this one right here. That's the one that's coming down toward you. Place it right here where your mountain is sticking up because you pressed your binding, so it's got to, it wants to stay and fold up, okay? And I'm probably going to need to lessen the lighting so you can see better. So push that down. That's your top piece, okay? Then your bottom one comes up like this. So take that bottom one and always pinch your quilt up like this and bring that bottom one sideways on top of the other one. Okay? Like this, and then you're going to sew from corner to corner because these two mountains are touching. Okay? So every time I think about it, I always use my fingers. I place this open. Then I take this one and I always open it up before I move anything because it's still flat, and then I just bring it up to it. You know, I pinch my quilt and bring it up to it. So my two mountains are touching, which is this is the mountain and this is a mountain. You know, they always touch each time. And then that way, when you open it up, you won't have no tangles like that. There, I've seen tons of, I'm not trying to confuse you guys, but I've seen where people take the two ends and they fold them really close to each other like this, leaving a little whatever space, and then they pinch it and bring it together and then twist it and turn it and sew a seam. I don't understand what the heck they're doing. This is the most easiest. It's coming down towards you. So literally you just open it up, place it down, take the one that's coming away from you, open it up because it's already facing down that way, and then place it on there to the side. Obviously this would be cut off and then you would sew from corner to corner. It's very, very easy. So, and then mitering corners is, again, super easy too. Let's just quickly show that. Again, your fabric was coming down, you're sewing it down, you stitch to about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and you're always folding this up straight like that. Even if you're doing a 60-degree miter or a 30-degree corner or a different kind of corner, it's always going to be the same. You're always going to pull the fabric up and level it with the edge of whatever corner or angle that you're binding. And then you would just fold it onto itself and go stitch along, stitching in from the edge. And then you would just repeat, 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 repeat. So that's how that's done. All right, you can put the camera back now. So hopefully you guys understood. It's quite simple. Just one end to the other. And see, I'm not wasting anything. I just pull that out, and this goes in my extra binding.
How do you line it to lay flat?
How do you line it to lay flat? When you're bringing your edges, I'm just going to lay right here. One comes down, you just hold it with your fingers. Bring in the next one. So I have one hand holding this, and then I'm going to open the next one, and my fingers are what's holding it, bringing it down. And then you just take it to the machine. You can put some pins in it if you need to, but usually your fingers should be able to get everything because you're stitching from here to here, and your fingers are like your pins. So it's very easy to bring the two edges together. Yep. When I was a beginner, that was like, woo! And when I learned how to do that, and my brain literally just exploded and said, oh, I don't have to do this any other way. I literally just, woohoo, this was great. And ever since then, that's how I do it. There's only very rare occasions, depending on the style of the quilt, like whatever I did on the quilt, that I would have to fold the side over first and then bring the bottom up to it. Most of the time when I'm making my miter, bottom goes to the top. When I'm doing the thing, mountain touch mountain, it really becomes super easy. And once you get used to it, it's second nature and you don't even think about it anymore. Alrighty. Anything else?
I guess that's it.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go and eat some breakfast or lunch or whatever. At this time of day, most of the people call it breakfast or brunch, but I call it lunch.
And we'll see you on Sunday.
All right, I will see you guys on Sunday, where I don't know what I'll be doing. Don't have any plans just yet. So see you then. Bye, everybody. Happy 4th of July.